Hi, this is John Byrne with Poets and Quants. We're here again on Friday for Fridays with Sandy.
Hi,
Sandy
everybody.
Kreisberg in Boston. We have a great candidate who is a 2+2 likely applicant. He'll also apply for deferred admission at Stanford, Columbia, and maybe another school. His name is Harvey. He is at the London School of Economics. His numbers are astounding. 770 GMAT, 4.0 GPA, and he's already got a job lined up at a PE fund after having spent last summer at Evercore. Sandy,
Yeah.
what do you think? The guy walks on water, man.
Well, how many guys like this do you think get in, John?
I don't think there are too many guys like this, to be honest, with PE 770, 4.0. But LSE is a super prestigious place.
Hey,
I'll give you a little secret.
John,
I yearned to go there as a student.
I'm deeply impressed, Harvey. I'm impressed. I think white males with GMAT over 750, working for a hedge fund or an M&A fund, whatever that is. I think the percent of people who get into 2+2 with that background is 60. What do you think, John?
I think those are good odds if you think about it, because after all,
not from Harvey's point of view, they're not good odds.
No, but if you compare those odds against the overall acceptance rate for 2+2, what's it like, 10%?
Yeah. Oh, I agree. Here's another question. So, how does a guy like this blow it from here on in? What mistakes do people like this often make?
They screw up the application and they screw up the interview. But there are a few other things here that we mentioned offline that are not necessarily dings, but disadvantages. Harvey is a white male, number one. He is not a STEM grad. A lot of 2+2 candidates are STEM grads, meaning
there's a preference for STEM.
Yeah, he's an econ major. So those are little things, but they're factors. But I think the numbers and the story are so strong, including his extras, incidentally. He's got great extras, that the only way he doesn't get in is if he just does a sloppy application, which is highly unlikely that he's going to do that, or he doesn't present well in the interview.
No, yeah, the interview is the place. As I've said many times, the interview is like being born. Like a lot of bad things can happen very, very quickly. Not that I have not given birth, but I have been born. So, and I've read about it. Here's how you screw it up, Harvey. You blow the interview by being too formal, too scripted. So let me give you an example of that. You've got a great extra here. You're president of Students for Children, which is an LSE charity society. This is the way you describe your role of being president for Students for Children, okay? Visualization and implementation of strategy for entire society. What do you think of that as a way to describe your role, John?
Well, that's a little dense, and it's a little divorced from the emotional appeal of.
Yeah, it's just a little stuffy. We don't have to overdo it. I mean, but it's
kind of quaint, isn't it?
Quaint can be interpreted in an HBS interview as being scripted.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's deal with Harvey here. Harvey, we'll give you a super fast mock interview. Okay. Could you tell me why you attended LSE?
Yeah. Before we jump in, I just want to make a clarification. I'm actually joining Evercore after graduation, not a PE fund. Evercore is the M&A advisory.
Yeah. Good. Thank you.
Just to clarify.
That's even better.
So I grew up in like the English suburbs, the countryside, and I went to a school that was lacked diversity is a way to put it. So having an international cohort was something that was really important to me for my university experience. So among the major universities that I looked at, LSE actually had the highest proportion of the internationals for their incoming undergraduate
Hey,
class.
John, how's he doing so far?
Well, it's a lot of words. Just say I went to LSE because what appealed to me was the international cohort there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're just dealing with homeopathic evidence, if you know what that means, or if I'm using it correctly, making a conclusion based on very tiny amount of data.
Mm-hmm.
That approach to answering questions can screw you up. You're a guy with a small stick up your butt. No, allow me to say, the women interviewing you, okay, have a real radar, have a very sensitive radar for that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how a great guy like you gets a unexpectedly bad result.
So he needs to say, do you know any people who went to LSE?
Ask him another
before you
question.
did?
What was unexpected about LSE once you got there? This is another typical interview.
Yeah. So before you go to LSE, it has a reputation for putting a lot of people into finance. And so I expected it to be quite a hostile environment because everyone is competing for the same jobs, the same internships. But there's actually quite a supportive ecosystem where everyone tries there's a lot of mentorship that goes on. And that was quite surprising.
What do you think of that answer, John? John?
I think it's good. Yeah, I think it's a good answer.
Yeah. Try it. Harvey, you're a real smart guy. Just try and make it a little more colloquial. Like I expected that there would be a lot of finance guys, and there were, but what was unexpected was that people had a lot of different interests, and there were a lot of people who were not majoring in finance, or whatever the truth is.
Okay.
It's almost less important than the way you deliver it.
Okay.
What was describe your most impactful project at wherever that place was, Evercore Partners and whatever it is?
I would say I was tasked at one point. We we're on a buy side mandate.
Stop right there, John. How's he doing?
Well, I had an internet connection problem.
Oh. Okay. I'm being maybe too harsh. Describe your most impactful project at Evercore.
So I was tasked with some financial statement analysis. We were breaking down essentially the revenue so we could do an operational benchmarking for the client. And it was, we had to turn it around over the weekend for a management presentation that the client had on Monday. And we delivered and the presentation went smoothly on their end.
John, grade that answer.
I actually liked it. I mean, look, he had a big deadline to make. They're working through an entire weekend to get it done. And it's nuts and bolts, financial analysis.
Yeah. But you're interviewing 10 guys like this, and you have to ding 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah.
It wasn't colloquial. It wasn't based on the people problem. They've got this word scripted, okay, which to them means anything they don't like, but with a tendency towards scripted. And you're a real smart guy. You're a very articulate guy, and you're a very self-contained guy. So a lot of those could beep out kind of subtle cues that they may pick up and say, this guy's okay, but he was a little scripted, and the guy before him had almost as good stats, but was a lot of fun. So that guy may get in and you may not. I'm overstating it for educational purposes here, but you go, oh, my most impactful project at Evercore was a due diligence that we had to do over a weekend. What made it my favorite project was I was working with 3 really interesting people, and over the weekend we kind of, it was crazy and we were working all the time, but we kind of bonded over things, and I got to meet these people. And we also, the manager of the project was a guy named John Doe, and he turned out to be later a mentor.
See, that's really fascinating because what you're doing is you're putting a real human element to the answer, where before there was no, human interaction in that answer. It was the right answer, but it's
no human interaction. You're like like that. Is that an important thing?
Yeah, for Harvard it is, and
Right.
Stanford. Harvard and Stanford, that'd be important. Yeah.
Right.
Because
let me say
getting
this.
something out of working collaboratively with others.
For the admissions, it's important for the admissions committee. After you get in, you can revert back to type, Harvey. But
Sandy.
But you got to get in
that's
first.
A brilliant insight, man.
Right.
Okay, so I'm sitting here saying his answer is perfectly okay, but you're right. That's a big difference.
Yeah. All right. We'll do one more just because you're a nice guy. Tell me about your experience at Blue Box. What is it, and how did you find it?
Yeah, so Blue Box it's quite a small M&A and capital advisory firm. It's in London. It was probably about 20 people by the time I was there. And I was tasked with a variety of things, valuation and preparing like marketing and processing materials for clients. And it involved just a lot of research, working with the analysts to produce bits of work for the seniors.
Okay, John.
Okay, so what I would say is Blue Box was an intimate place to work where you could form really good friendships and learn a lot.
Yeah, what was wrong with this answer? Don't make them go. Don't make them go through all this. What was wrong with it?
But go back to the people and the human thing.
Okay.
So you can say what you're saying, but put more human. I mean,
I could have given that answer reading off your resume. I mean, this is just interview advice. It's real important, man. I'm not giving you a hard time. I'm really not. They've got their knives out for people like you. Some of it is being British, and some of it just might be who you are. But loosen up.
Okay.
That's my.
You have everything else going for you, and all it is just being a little more casual, a little colloquial, and
right. Yeah. For the admissions committee, right?
Yeah, that's all.
All right.
Makes
so
sense, yeah.
You got. Okay, that concludes our $1 million of free advice, and I ain't kidding either.
Harvey, you've got a lot going for you. On the basis of your resume and your numbers, you are golden. Don't screw up that interview.
I will try my best.
All right. Hey, good luck to you. And Sandy, thanks again. For everyone else watching, thanks for joining us.
Okay.
Tom Byrne with Poets and Quants.
See you next week.
Indeed.